everyone,
Hello!
and welcome to Kirsty and Briony's Comfort Zone.
I am Kirsty.
And I am Briony, and we are here to dive into the murky marsh of dreams that spurts out of our brains.
Oh
Is
my
that
God.
a nice picture for everyone?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Wading through the dream marsh.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I've had a really strange thing happening in my dreams recently,
Yeah?
and it's disturbing.
Right away.
Because, okay, so my mother is like the most gentle, patient woman. She is like lovely. She's so kind. I've never seen her get like angry or heard her raise her voice or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
But recently, in the space of a week, I had a dream because I went home to stay in my like childhood home. And when I was there, I had a dream that my mum was driving an Aston Martin and
Right.
I was in the passenger seat and we were going past these people waiting at a bus stop. And when she saw them, she swerved into like a massive puddle just to splash them all. And I woke up like, what the heck? Like, my mum would never do this. And I told my mum and she was just like, what? Like, I wouldn't do that. And I was like, I know, it's very strange. But then last night, I had a dream that my mother was a serial killer.
Oh.
And was trying to like, I was just like, Mum, you're not going to kill me, are you? And she was just like, oh, maybe. And I was just
I'll
like,
never
what the
tell.
heck? But I just woke up just like, why my mum? Like, I thought it was sort of like an interesting thing to have, like, I don't know if my brain is telling me that I'm really uncomfortable about something at the moment, but I was like, is it like my mum is my ultimate guide of loveliness and my brain is just like trying to make her into the exact opposite or something? Like, I don't know, it's so
Yeah.
strange that it's happened twice in a week.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I guess it's kind of like when you have friends that are sort of mean to you in a dream as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I dreamt about Silas last night.
Was he mean?
I can't remember. I can't remember. I did have a dream and I remember the bulk of it, but I think there was a bit with Silas beforehand. Oh, I don't think he was mean. I kind of remember it now. We had a teleporter that went to his house and we were in Japan and I was trying to figure out how to get to Toys R Us. Because there was no car park there and you weren't allowed to stop outside and there was no pedestrian entry to this Toys R Us. So basically you couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
So I went all the way around and then we were on top of a mountain or something and then we had to use a teleport to get back to Japan. It was very confusing, but I don't think Silas was mean saying that. But I thought I'd bring it up since he's always showing up, that guy.
Yeah.
Frickin'
What is
Silas.
it with that guy and the dream realm just
Yeah.
hanging out there all the time?
But I dreamt about you as well.
Oh.
I did. You didn't have a big role in my dream, but you were there. And our friend Ted was there.
Oh.
Yeah, there were a few people there. I could tell the dream, but I feel like we haven't preambled enough yet.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think I had a few just sort of weird dreams last night because I'm not very well, which people could probably tell. So my brain was all over the place, just throwing dreams at me.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I've been like very dreamy recently. I have been making so much content, working
yeah.
hard,
Working hard or hardly working.
dreaming hard or hardly dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just been a strange little theme of my mum.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't talk. I get it.
Well,
Like you know that I've had a load of dreams about my mum. Like me, I often dream that I'm arguing with my mum, and I'll wake up and I'll be like, why was I arguing with her? I don't know why brains do it. Like they choose someone and they're just like, we'll make them mean today, or we'll make them do something they don't usually do.
Yeah. Well, part of me wonders if, I mean, I won't dwell on this too much because obviously it's not a nice subject, but part of me wonders if, so basically when I was home in Hertfordshire, I went to look up Hertfordshire when I got back because we were talking to Rithian about the etymology of Hertfordshire. And I wanted to check I was right before I looked it up because I was like, I'm pretty sure it means deer because like all of the symbology across Hertfordshire is deers. But I went to check, and as soon as I searched Hertfordshire, it was like manhunt. Like this guy has done a horrendous crime, and he's currently like being hunted across Hertfordshire. And then when I got back to Bristol, there's currently a manhunt in Bristol for someone else who has also murdered someone, and it's obviously horrible. So I wonder if, like, at the moment, I can't help but feel like you just, I guess when that sort of stuff happens, you sort of feel like unsafe. It just puts a sort of dark edge on your surroundings. And I wonder if that was it. Like if my mum was symbolic of like home and hearth sort of thing. But with this like edge of, but I'm a bit scary sort of thing. So I was like, oh, I wonder if it was just that, like,
could be.
I guess like in your day-to-day life, you just sort of, you walk home and you don't think about it and you go to the shops and you do this. And then when something like this happens, you suddenly think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go out at this time. Maybe I shouldn't go to that place. Maybe I shouldn't. And I guess, I wonder if it was just that feeling of what was safe edges feeling a little bit spiky all of a sudden.
Yeah, that makes sense. In a sense, that kind of relates to my dream too, because it was quite pleasant up until a certain point, and then it became not pleasant at all.
That's when I showed up.
When Briony showed up? Yeah.
There goes the neighborhood.
I keep alluding to it, so I guess I may as well just tell the dream, honestly. And then we can just relate it back. Yeah. So it started off there was a bit beforehand that I can't remember. I did record it, but I'm a bit lightheaded, so I can't remember it. But the bit I do remember, we were in a park. If I remember the bit beforehand, I'll say it. But it was me and you. We were walking along in a park, and we had like bows and arrows, and we were waiting for Ted to show up.
We're gonna shoot him, or?
We were gonna shoot him. No, we were gonna have a nice walk in the park with our bows and arrows, and we saw him. We were walking down a path, and there was another path that kind of like a wishbone. It sort of joined onto the path we were on, and we saw him walking down that path. We were like, "Oh, there he is!" And he had an orange tunic on, like kind of like LARPing almost. He had an orange tunic, and he had a really big quiver with these massive arrows. And he had someone else with him, like this guy that had like blondish hair, like curtains, like 90s boy band style hair,
Yeah.
And I think he was wearing goggles, and I don't know who he was, but it was like, oh, he brought a friend, okay. So we met up with him, and we were like, oh, let's find somewhere we can like use our bows and like do some shooting. And the place we were in, it was kind of like on our left there was a cafe and like a big seating area and stuff. And on the right of the path there were some trees, and beyond that it was like kind of mountainous, and there might have been a lake there too. It was very pretty. And we were walking down this path, and eventually we got to like this big wall. And on the other side, I kind of saw through the wall somehow, like an X-ray, and I was like, oh, there's a beach on the other side of this wall. And we were like, oh, let's go and check out the beach. And like, if you walked along the wall, it kind of took you onto the promenade of the beach sort of thing. Like the wall sort of got smaller, and then it became the beach.
Yeah.
It was it was a very big wall, but then it kind of went uphill, and then the wall petered off. So we got onto the beach, and at that point, I had like a to-do list, like what we do in Stardew, and it was like paddle in the water during a lightning storm. It was like that's like a bad idea. And at that point, we had a guy with us who was like a professor. I don't know who he was, but he was there with like a female relative. So I guess like I don't know, a daughter or something. And she was like, "I'll do it," and she was wearing wellies, so she went and sort of paddled in there and I was like, just be careful if you get like struck by lightning because it won't be able to ground through your wellies. And while she was doing that, I was like, where even is the lightning? And I was looking in the sky and I could see like cloud trails. And I was like, is that where like the lightning did hit? And it left sort of a poof of cloud. And I was looking around and then I turned to my left and looked up. And very high up in the sky, there was a cloud, like a singular cloud amongst the other clouds. But this one was more like purple and dark. And it had lightning surging out of it into another cloud below it. Kind of like, I don't know, like, is it like a Tesla coil, like where there's like exposed sort of bzzz, is that?
Yeah.
Kind of
I know
like
what
that.
you mean.
I don't know if that's a Tesla coil or what, but that kind of thing. Like there was exposed lightning going between the two clouds. And I was like, there it is. And I pointed at it. And at that moment, this huge, like, bomb went off in the distance to the left of this cloud, like very far in the distance. It was like a mushroom cloud. And I was like, another bomb's gone off. We need to run. And everybody started running from the beach. And at that point, I wasn't with anyone else anymore. I was just like, I just need to run. And we were all running away. And I ran back to like the cafe bit and I hid behind the building. And I went down like on my knees, like head to the floor. And I put my hands over my ears. And I heard our friend Kat Strike in my ears be like, oh, Kirsty, poor Kirsty, bless her. And then she was talking about all of like the wildlife. She was like, oh, the little birds are going to really suffer. I don't know. Aww. And at that point, like I was trying to think of lyrics. I think I was trying to think of My Chemical Romance lyrics to sort of drown out the noises. But then when the shockwave hit, there wasn't any noise and everything just became white and black. Like it wasn't grayscale. It was just white or black, like very, very bright white or black.
Yeah.
But I had my eyes closed the whole time trying to like just not see anything. And I was like, I don't want to open my eyes because I thought like if I walk through this, it would be like traumatizing.
Yeah.
And then that was the end of the dream. And I was like, geez, that was so like traumatic. But the thing that got me was, do you remember the train dream I had where I hid like in like a gap in the fence and a bomb went off then?
Yeah.
I'm sure in that dream, I remember thinking that I'd had a dream before about a bomb going off. But when I woke up, I was like, I don't think I have. And that thing happened today as well. Like I remembered this happening before. I was like, I've dreamt about a bomb going off before. And I woke up and I was like, no, I haven't. The only time I have is that one with the train. But when I was asleep, I was like, no, I've recently had one, but I don't think I did, unless I forgot it. But yeah, it's strange. It's like a weird recurring theme where I'm like, oh no, a bomb has gone off, but I've also dreamt about this already.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in both of those dreams, I think I had my hands over my ears and my eyes closed and just remember everything like going white and there not being any sound. So yeah, that was my dream last night. It was very intense. I'm sure there was something before us walking through the park. Oh, I remember it. I remember it. We were in Toys R Us. Again, this may have been leading on from the bit with Silas. I think that happened earlier in the night. But we were in Toys R Us. It was me, I think my brother, and somebody else. And we found a PlayStation 2 in a really big box, but it was like damaged. And I don't really remember all the details, but essentially like someone I was with took it to the desk and bought it. But the people at the desk said like, we need to send it away for repairs first. So they came back and were like, oh, we need to wait for it to come back. But then somebody that we were with was like, this is stolen. Like this is like a dirty PS2 and we shouldn't buy it. And they tried to run to the desk and like get them to change their mind. And they were like rifling through their bag trying to find the receipt to prove that it was stolen. For some reason, that was the thing they had. And so we were just waiting for this PS2 to show up. And then at that point, we went to the park with me and you, and then we met with Ted. So yeah, that was the dream. Oh my God. Sorry, that was very long, but it was a very long and it was a very vivid dream. So
yeah. I mean, I looked up some things whilst you were explaining it. I tried to look up bow, as in bow and arrow, but it's confusing because obviously it thinks bow and hair bow. And but there is a section that says about a bow, but I don't think it's relevant because it says to perceive a bow as in Cupid's bow within a dream can indicate the need to be loved, the union of masculine and feminine.
Right.
I'm like,
Okay.
Not quite.
Not quite.
The other, so I then, when I read that, I was like, that's not it. So I looked up arrow. And arrow says, if we dream of shooting arrows, we are aware of the consequences of actions, either our own or other people's, which cannot be recalled or revoked. Interestingly enough, arrows can also symbolize words in dreams.
Words? Okay. Ted has
But-
lots of big words.
He does. He's a smart boy.
Smart man.
I then looked up bomb, and I feel like this one might be like a bit more relevant
Okay.
because it says bombs appearing in dreams usually indicate some form of explosive situation with which we need to deal. Psychologically, we need to be aware that our own emotions are likely to get the better of us. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's like, if there's anything. I mean, for me, that sounds like classic stress dream. Like,
Yeah,
if
it was pretty
you're-
stressful.
If there's something you're worried about, and
There was, I have been doing jury duty, and that was obviously a situation between two people in court that I, as part of the jury, had to see over.
yeah,
And we finished it now. I'm not going to go into what happened, but the whole process relies so heavily on the jury. And even when you come to a verdict, the fact that the judge doesn't really have a say didn't sit right with me. I came away from it like, what if we were wrong,
yeah.
And even just as I fell asleep, I was like, I don't feel qualified to judge,
Yeah.
They've pulled me in off the street and they've said, hey, you and 11 other people have to decide if this guy's going to get, convicted. And it's like, that's too much. I don't like that. And yeah, maybe like I can see that sort of stressing me out a little bit because it was literally yesterday that I finished jury
Yeah.
duty. So
Well, I guess as well, like having the cloud, like that's like having a cloud looming over you, and having the lightning, which is like, storm brewing, and having it
Yeah.
like a bomb waiting to go off. Like all of those things are very symbolic of like tension that can culminate in like a big explosion.
Explosion.
And I guess interestingly, I mean, obviously it's not super relevant because you had this same sort of thing before, but I guess the fact that when you're in a court, it's like either guilty or not guilty. The fact that there was no grey scale, it was just black and white. I wonder if it's like that there's like
Yeah, honestly.
no subtlety
Even
in between.
like the way the jury does it, like when the jury decides their verdict, it has to be unanimous.
Yeah.
It has to be. And when everyone's sitting there talking, a part of me is like, what if people don't agree with what we're saying, but they know that it's the end of the week, and if they disagree, then we're going to have to be here for another few days, and they just want to go home, And that's not the way to do it. And it's like, what if, we're all making this horrible decision and it's because they want to go for lunch? It's such an inherently stressful thing. It really is. And so, yeah, I can totally see that, like, having me have a stress dream, honestly.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that I'm sick.
Yeah. That
That
does
didn't
not
help. That didn't help.
Do you reckon it was from a fellow juror? Did you have any
I don't
sneezy
know.
jurors?
I mean, I don't think I did, but it could have been, because, I mean, I didn't really go anywhere before going to jury duty, unless I caught it at Tesco. But the way it happened, right? I got a sore throat the other day. I think I remember saying to you, I definitely said to Vivian because we were on Discord, but I had a sore throat at the start of the week, literally like the first or second day of jury duty. And I was like, oh, geez, sore throat. And a part of me was like, this means I'm getting a cold, because whenever I get a sore throat, it gets followed up with a cold. And the sore throat went away. I had one day of grace. And then yesterday, it just punched me in the face. And I was like, no, here it is. So it might have been another juror, maybe. Making me sick. God damn it. God damn it.
I looked up beach
Okay.
because you were on a beach.
Yeah. I've dreamt about this beach before as well. This is like the stock beach that's in my brain that my brain pulls out if I need a beach.
So it's not like a specific beach you've been to. It's just like stock photo beach.
Yeah, it's literally just stock photo beach. It's not even like a beach that's spreading on either side either. It's literally the end of a beach, and like there is a wall or a cliff at the edge of this beach where it begins, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it was the same the last time I dreamt about it. I think last time I dreamt about it, I was swimming and I was like looking for stuff in the water. I might have brought that to the podcast maybe. But this time, I didn't. I just sort of stood on the wall. You know how sometimes beaches have like a wall and a slope going up to get off of the sand? That's kind of where we were standing, and we were quite high up. And we were looking down at this girl that had gone in with her wellies. So I didn't actually go onto the beach this time. But it was there.
I mean, this does start with to be on a beach, so maybe
I was
not relevant.
I was very close to the beach.
It says to be on a beach shows our awareness of the boundary between emotion and reality, our ability to be in touch with the elements.
Oh.
So I guess, I don't know, again, maybe it's like, you know, looking out to sea, is you waiting for the jury decision to crest the waves?
A part of me, even in the dream, part of me was like, if I'd have gone onto the beach, I wouldn't have been able to run. And my brain was like, that girl's so fucked.
Yeah.
Because she was so far down, like it was a big slope going down to this beach. And yeah, so I guess I kind of felt bad. So again, it kind of goes back to this whole thing where I'm like, what if we made the wrong decision?
Yeah.
You know, and either way, someone's going to be disappointed or suffer for it. So yeah, I think maybe parts of it were to do with that, just sort of the stress that comes with it. And I'm lucky, like mine was, I was there for 4 days, right? I was there for 4 days, and there are people there that are going to be there for like coming up a month, probably. Like it's crazy. And even that, just very small case, was enough to stress me out. So yeah, I dread to think how the other people are getting on that are going to be there for a while yet.
How did you find it with like paying attention? Because one of my biggest fears about if I ever got called up for jury duty is I do that thing. I did it every time I was in like university and there was a lecture, and I do that thing of like, I must listen to this. Hang on, I'm thinking that I should listen. Wait, I'm not listening. Okay, I'll listen from now. Wait, am I listening to this? Wait, what did they? So I'm just like, what if they got to the end of the case and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, wait, what?
Well, it was the thing again. This is what I've said to people since I sort of came away from it. It's such a bizarre system that we have in this country where they call up people and they're essentially training new jurors every week. Every Monday they get a new batch, and it's like training new employees, you know? So the whole case was the judge talking to us and telling us how it's done, rather than talking, like focusing on, you know, everyone else in the court. It was turning to the jury and saying, okay, we're going to do this now. You know, you can take notes if you want, but don't worry about it because I'm going to give you a recap at the end. And it was like sitting in and being a trainee in a new job. And it baffles me that that is what they do every week. That feels so bizarre to me. It kind of feels like a waste of time and money. But at the same time, I understand that they do it. I like why they do it, because it's impartial. You know, people are impartial when they come in off the street.
I guess you couldn't get like professional jurors because people just learn who they were and bribe them.
Exactly. So because of that, keeping attention on the case was relatively easy because it was like being trained. It was like being trained, and people were so laser focused on you. It wasn't that you were just put in a room and expected to do it. Like every step of the way, the judge is holding your hand. Like, right, we're going to do this now. We're going to do this now. I wish. But like So there was not much room to drift off and forget. And not only that, but you are in court for very short bursts of time.
Yeah.
You're in there for like 45 minutes and then you're out. And then you wait for 2 hours and then you're back in for half an hour and then you're out and then you go home.
Do they provide snackies?
No, there's a cafe
What?
you could buy food from, but no.
Oh.
But yeah, I did find myself doodling on the paper that they gave us. But no, it was pretty easy to keep your attention, I think.
Okay.
Pretty easy.
It's just one of those things that all of my life I've never known anyone have jury duty, and now 3 of my friends have had it in the space of like less than a year.
It could be you next. Ooh.
It's just so weird. Like, it's always one of those things that is like a plot point in films or TV, but I sort of forgot it's also a real thing that happens.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my gosh, it just keeps happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very interesting. It is interesting, and it doesn't feel like work per se because so much of it is waiting around. Like for the first couple of days, I just sat there and read my book.
Yeah.
Like on the first day, a lot of people didn't go in until like the very end of the day. I think I didn't go in until 3:00 or probably like 3:30 on the first day, and I got there at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
There were people that brought books and they finished their book on the first day.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of waiting around.
Were you reading your witch book?
I was reading the one that you bought me, yeah.
Ah, is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. They don't talk about witches so much as they talk about... there's a lot of stuff about like Mesopotamian beliefs, and I think they keep linking back to that. So like Lamashtu and stuff. And then they're like, and here's a new mythical creature, but they're like Lamashtu because of this. But it's all very interesting. It's like reading an article, like an academic article. It's very matter of fact. But I like that.
Okay.
I liked reading those when I was at uni, so I'm like, this is good.
I had a book suggested to me today that immediately made me think of you. It was, I'm going to have to try and find it. It was in a Waterstones email, and it was the person's second book, and their first book was it was just called Mudlarking. And this was like the sequel to the Mudlarking book. And I was like, oh, I wonder if Kirsty would like to read about this. Just here it is. Treasures of the Riverbank.
Ah, that's cool. Man, I'd love to go mudlarking.
It says, a luminous sequel to the best-selling Mudlarking is an eloquent celebration of a year spent scouring the banks of the Thames for hidden treasures.
Oh, that's so cool.
I want to go mudlarking. Yeah. I want to go back to the beach and find treasures and trinkets.
Oh, me too. We'll have to go when it's cold again. I think that's the best time.
I think I could do with it being a smidge less rainy than when we went.
Yeah, slightly less rainy.
Just a smidge.
It was a little bit wet when we went.
I could literally pour water out of my boots. I think I would definitely be more prepared this time, though. I would wear
we were very
waterproof
unprepared.
trousers.
Absolutely.
I was just in the mindset of like, I'm going on a little beach holiday. I didn't think, like, it just never occurred to me that it would be rainy. I don't know why. I've lived in England all my life. I should expect rain now.
We got very unlucky with the rain. It was so bad that first day.
Yeah. I remember just like, because I was the first one to go back.
Yeah.
And it was just because I was like soaked through. It was the wind.
It was the wind. The wind was so biting, and it didn't help that we were absolutely soaked.
I just remember like
we didn't have proper heating in our Airbnb, so we couldn't dry our clothes.
Everything was so, and I couldn't believe when I was packing up on the last day and I found the hairdryer in my room. I felt so guilty because I was like, I have deprived everyone of this luxury by not checking this drawer on the first day.
Oh no.
I just remember like huddling behind that big concrete block with my little cup of tea, just like sheltering from the wind, just like a little bit of respite, just like
that. Your flask with the tea was a lifesaver, honestly.
Yeah, that was the one preparation I had.
Without that, it was so good.
We might not have waterproofs, but we got a nice cup of tea.
Oh, I'd love to go back.
I would love to go back and definitely just be prepared for it this time.
Yeah. Honestly, you could probably find stuff now. The thing, I think, because they've got like a Victorian bottle dump there, there's always treasures to be had, I think. But like if it was just fossils, I think the winter would be the best time for it.
Wait, how so? There's more stuff. What, just because of it being
I think the
quiet,
tides go
or?
out more.
Oh, I see.
In the winter, I think. I could be wrong, but it's just a thing that they say that the winter is the best time for it.
Yeah.
I think it's something to do with the tides.
I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? That sometimes you can book something midwinter and you get a lovely sunny, clear day. It's cold, but it's beautiful. Yeah. Whereas, like, I'm booked to go. I mean, I sent you the screenshot of the weather report last night. I'm booked to go away this Sunday to next Thursday. And literally, the place we're going to, it is raining Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sunny either end of it, but just those days, I'm like, oh. It's
July. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, oh, it'll still be like, maybe we'll have another heat wave. It'll be super sunny. And I bought all of that summer. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to wear summery things on my summer holiday. So I bought like flowing skirts and I bought my first ever crop top. And now I'm going to be like bundled up in a raincoat.
Oh.
But I'm sure I'll get use of it at some point, whenever the next week of summer is that we have. I've just noticed that my dream that I've brought is over 6 minutes long, and I have no memory of what this is.
Well, we should give it a listen.
Yeah, have a little listen, and hopefully it'll come back to me, and hopefully it's nothing spicy.
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
I had a dream that it was in like 3 parts, but I don't remember the first part at all. But the second part was that I was invited onto Hat Chat. I don't think I was even invited. I think I just turned up. But it turned out that they were doing like a special themed episode where they were just talking about World War II. And I was like, I don't know anything about this. I will not be able to join in at all. And then I was at a big like manor house table, but all of the chairs were like armchairs. I can't remember why we were there. We were watching some big important thing on TV, and everyone was meant to turn up in costume, I think, and they were asking who everyone was dressed up as, and I think I was sat with like Kim and Kirsty. And it got to me and I was like, oh, well, I'm meant to be Princess Mononoke, but she pretty much just wears a blue dress and a white top, so that's all I'm wearing, but I am in costume. And then I was sat, like, Ped was on my left, and for some reason I think he dropped something and he went under his chair to find it, but he was like completely under this armchair and he didn't want to come out. But then it cut to like we were sat in this like lecture theatre, and there was someone sat in front of me that had we were all watching like what was meant to be a members video that was maybe like there were some people from the office and they were going around and giving presents to various members of the Yogs because it was their birthdays. And all I remember is Harry got given these like massive like fake plastic gems. And then when that happened, he like was a few chairs down from me, and he was like, here you go, Briony, and he just like gave me some of the gems, and he was like really laughing about it, and I was like, I don't understand what the joke is. So I was handing them to the person in front of me who I have no idea who it was, and then I handed them a pair of glasses and all of this stuff, and I was just handing them like loads of things. And then I was talking to Greg and walking away from the whole thing, and I was saying like, oh, Greg, you have to come round. We should have a movie night. Oh, have you seen Furiosa yet? we should watch Furiosa. And then I was walking towards the like library of this place, and I was like, oh, I really wanted to get a book out on like herbs and their uses in like healing and stuff. So I was like trying to find like a person who worked there to point me in the right direction. And it was all of these like, there must have been like 10 people who worked there, and they were all like dressed as like witches, but not like, you know, pointy hat witches, but it was all like, you know, everyone had this like long flowing hair and these beautiful like medieval dresses on. And I was looking around and I was like, everyone here is a witch. And eventually I managed to talk to one person, because everyone I talked to would just like not hear me and walk off. And she was like, okay, come around to this side of the counter. But there was a man there dressed in like old like Jane Austen style getup, and I had to squeeze around to the right hand side of him. And then the library lady like pulled back a curtain and was like, talk to me back here. And we were like leaning over to the right, talking to each other. And she was like, oh, of course we have those sorts of books, but the library does close in 3 minutes. And she started like running, and I was really struggling to keep up with her. And then eventually she stopped outside this building, and I caught her up, and she was like heavily pregnant. And she was like, you know, you're keeping me fit, which is good for the baby. I was like, oh my gosh, are you sure you should be running around like this? And she showed me this room that was empty, and she was like, oh, sorry, they're packing everything away for the night, but if you come back tomorrow, this is where those books should be. And we started walking back towards the library, but now we're on a riverbank, and I was like really stepping in this like marshy, reedy like footing. And at one point I stepped forward and I just heard this squeaking, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I like clambered up onto the like higher up the bank, because I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know who I disturbed. And then the library lady started talking to me, and she was like, did you get your mum a present for the holiday? And I just started talking to her about how I like live apart from my family, and I'm really bad at presents, and I often send them late and all of this stuff. But I did send my mum a present for Mother's Day this year. On time. Woohoo! But yeah, that's about all I remember. The library was closing and I was leaving. The end. Bye-bye.
There you go. A witchy library.
Very good. When did you have that? The 23rd of June?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say it could have been based on when we had our little trip to Hitchin, but that was after.
Yeah, this was a few weeks ago now.
Yeah, this was a little while ago. I'm going to say it. I feel like we both need a like counter
oh my
for our dreams.
Yes.
Because, my God, the amount of times we are both saying, and I was like, and they were like, and she was like, like. And I know that I do it all the time, and I notice you doing it there too.
Comfort zone drinking game.
Yeah.
Do a shot every time we say like. You'll be smashed within 10 minutes.
You will. You'll be absolutely
like smashed.
Absolutely like shit.
If you like take a like shot every like time. It's true. I find myself doing that like, oh my God.
Oh no.
Whenever
you're gonna notice now every time.
Whenever you're like, describing a conversation, and I don't know how else to do it but to say like, oh my gosh, every time. But it's just like, and they were like, and he was like, and she was like,
and they were like, and I do that as well in all of my dream recordings. Whenever I say, and this person said this, I'm like, and they were like, and they were like. And now everyone's gonna notice. Sorry.
Dear, dear. I remember it being a thing when I was a teenager that teachers would point out a lot. of people saying like, and I think there were times when I would tune into it, but I guess it just slowly snuck into vocabulary, and now it's difficult to get out.
It's so hard to not do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
It's similar to when I was listening.
You can say like in
the correct sense.
In the correct sense.
I really appreciate this thing. I remember when I was editing our first ever episode of Comfort Zone, and I was so tempted to do an counter, because there was a lot of But I don't think umming is a bad thing. I think it's good to consider your words.
It's filling the air and thinking about what you're saying. And that's exactly what like is.
Yeah.
There is a word for it. Rythian will know it, and Nalzi knows it, because Nalzi says it all the time. He always points out stuff like that when people say like too much or
Like filler words, like a proper word for fillers.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like hang on, let me Google it. I feel like there's like a proper word for it. I just said it again.
Pensive sounds.
Word for filler words. Is there... Maybe I'm sure there's a proper word for filler words, but maybe it's just filler words.
I wonder if you get different ums in different languages. Like, is like a universal sound?
Yeah, you do. Because in Japanese they say etto. So yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I asked this to Rythian the other day, like when you say when something's tasty, I think in Swedish you say mums. Is that right?
Mums.
I think I'm so sorry if I've got this wrong, because I've not been on my Duolingo for a while. But it's something like that.
Yeah. It is interesting. I mean,
it's like yum. Yeah, it's instead of saying yum, you say mums.
Mums.
Yeah, it's an onomatopoeic word in Swedish when you eat something tasty.
I find it funny how you get like different words for animal language.
Yeah,
as well. Because like for us, it'll be like moo and neigh and oink, but it can be different. And
then you have like boof for a dog or nyan for a cat. Boof, 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 boof.
Yeah, I had completely forgotten the first portion of that dream.
Yeah, there was a lot of... You always have so many cameos in your dreams. There's so many people showing up. It feels like you're just hanging out.
Ped was under a chair. Yeah. I don't know why Harry gave me gems.
And
I don't know.
Was there, right? You went to Hat Chat.
Oh, that was... Yeah, I remember I told Trot about it the next day when I was chatting to him. I was like, I had a dream that I was on Hat Chat last night, and you kept on asking me about the Russian politics. And I was like, I do not know how to respond to this. I just remember sitting there. I literally like snuck into the studio and was just like, hee, they won't send me away. And then they started talking, and I was like, hang on, I thought they just talked about like, I don't know, peeing in games. I don't know what, like just weird stuff.
The idea of a Hat Chat World War II special is...
Yeah. I was like, I'm not equipped for this conversation.
I did not expect this to happen.
And then I do sort of remember where we were sat for the first portion just before the dream, before the library, being this like, it was like a half auditorium, and we were all in rows. And then the Greg who I mentioned is Greg of Landlord Super, creator of Landlord Super, and he just walked me the like 5 meters from this, because it was all like in the middle of a field with like mountains either side. And yeah, it's just so weird that in my own dreams, firstly, I didn't sit myself in the front row of the auditorium. Could have had a great seat. No, I put myself in the middle row. And then I made myself queue at the library. I'm like, why do I not in dreams just have the like, screw
why
this,
do you
I'm
not
going straight to the
yourself?
front. Yeah. Because I literally, like the counter, when I wanted to talk to the woman, she was like, oh, sorry, come over here. And I had to lean round the side of the counter through a curtain to talk to her. And I'm like, why did I make that so difficult for myself? Why didn't I just go up to the counter and be like, hi, I'm the creator of this entire story.
I'm in charge here.
Get me my book. Oh, the library was cool though. And all of the people who worked there were all so cool. And I wish it was a real place. Oh, I know why I had this dream.
Uh-huh.
It's because there's a witch bookshop opening in Bristol.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, you did mention that.
Should have put the two things together in my head sooner, I think.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, there was a lot of extra stuff in the dream to consider.
Yeah, like the whole bit where I was just walking down like a marshy riverbank and I stepped on like a nest or something. Nothing was hurt, but there was just sort of furious squeaking and I knew that I shouldn't be walking there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's, I don't know, symbolic of like uneven ground, not feeling steady or something, I guess, maybe.
Maybe.
I think it means I want to be a witch.
Yeah, you want to be a witch.
And work in a library.
And you don't want to step on wildlife by accident.
Yeah, and I would not understand why I was handed gems. That's true to life.
But it was like a funny haha. Like you didn't understand why you were the butt of the joke.
Yeah,
right?
Like everyone else got it, and I was just like, I don't understand what's happening. What is the reference here?
Why are we laughing?
So not only do I make myself queue in my own dreams, there's in jokes that I'm not part of in my own head.
Oh no.
Oh. I have dressed
Briony.
up as Princess Mononoke before for Halloween.
Yeah?
The first
I like how you were like, oh, she just wears a blue dress with a white top, so this is me.
Yeah. Very lazy.
Very high effort cosplay.
Yeah. I think it was the first ever Yogscast Halloween thing I went to. I was Princess Mononoke.
Aww.
And I can't remember who said it, but I remember I turned up and someone was like, because I made the mask out of like papier-mâché and everything. And I made the costume, which was more than just a blue dress. I like sewed together like her cape and all of that stuff. And I made like the teeth necklace out of polymer clay and all of this. And but we had to turn up a bit late. And when I got there, someone was like, wow, that's amazing. We've already given the prize for the best costume, but you should have been here earlier. You would have won.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, thank you.
Wow. How late were you?
I don't remember. Like, it was definitely like gone an hour since.
That feels like that's something they should do at the end of the night.
Yeah. I think it was like the first time I ever really properly made a costume. And I did like it.
You're very good at it. Your mushroom hat was incredible.
Ah, thank you. Need to think what to do this year. I say that like I'm going to plan it in time. I'll do what I always do. Plan it 2 days before and then panic make it the day before. That's the real tradition.
Hell yeah. I'd love to make a costume.
We should make matching costumes.
We should. I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yeah, probably. We could be Jenny Greenteeth and
We could. Let's just be hags.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I've got it. Okay. You be Baba Yaga. I'll be the chicken house.
Okay. Incredible.
And I'll make
I need a giant mortar.
Yes. I think a chicken house would be a really cute costume. You could have like a little
you'd be
door
incredible as
you
a
can
chicken
peek
house.
out from.
Please be a chicken house for Halloween.
It only works if you're there as Baba Yaga, though.
I don't know. I think if you showed up as a chicken house, I'd be very impressed.
I wonder how difficult it would be to make big chicken feet.
Well, you can get socks. You can get like big socks that are just chicken feet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Or bird feet, you know.
And then you just have to, I reckon it wouldn't be too difficult to make a house dress either. Just make it out of cardboard and paint it. Oh, I've got a massive box at the moment, actually.
Yeah, you've got big boxes for like your hay deliveries, right?
Yeah.
Just use
and
that.
I could just fit in that. Oh, yeah, let's do this.
This is incredible. I love it. Oh my God.
Trying to think if there's. Oh, you have to come down and visit the witch shop when it does open.
Yes, definitely. I really want some more books. I want to try and make a conscious effort to read more, which I've said so many times, but I did manage a bit when I was doing jury duty, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to ride that high.
I finally got through the absolutely massive book I was reading, and it was a bit of a struggle to get through, I'll be honest. And then I immediately started reading a book called Sister Song by Lucy Holland. And already I'm already like halfway through it because it's so much more like I just want to keep reading it. It's so readable, which is a good thing for a book.
Yeah, it's a good quality to have.
Yeah. What else happened in this blooming thing? I feel like I've not looked anything up in it because it was just odd.
That's true.
What
What did the gems look like?
They were just like, your classic like big plastic, like the sort of ones like costume jewelry ones but like kids stuff that would have a sticky back that you can just, make a crown out of or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was just those sorts of ones. Have you ever looked up, what would they be? Gems. Gem. How does the alphabet work? Gems. See jewels. Oh. I was like, which one should I look up? Turns out both. It says jewels appearing in dreams almost invariably symbolize those things which we value. These may be personal qualities, our sense of integrity, our ability to be ourselves, or even our very essential being. When we feel we know what we are looking for, we are aware on some level of its value to us or others. Okay, so, right. I reckon that this dream. So recently, lovely G, who has been on this podcast before, she did a tweet talking about, I can't think how to word it, like how, not lonely, but like how separate you can feel in streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess, this isn't exactly what she said, but just like a point that I've felt before is, I guess it can be very odd when you're like streaming and essentially your colleagues, I guess, for want of it's not really a proper word, but like your colleagues are also sort of your rivals.
Rivals, yeah.
In like a it's obviously a very simplified way of looking at it. And a very cynical way of looking at it as well, I feel. But the tweet was like sort of about that. And I ended up messaging her and being like, oh yeah, I felt these things too. And we chatted about that a bit. So I wonder if it was sort of partially like that. Because I think sometimes when you're in like a network, the outside view of it, it's like you see those comments all the time of people being like, oh, Yogscast is just like a big group of friends and everyone's just, best friends and getting along and all of this stuff. But the truth of the matter is like sometimes you do feel like lonesome, or you can feel a bit because when you are streaming, even though technically you are part of this lovely network, you're just sort of sat on your own in your room.
You're going it alone, and at the same time you are thinking like, oh, who else is live right now? Like, who am I competing against, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way of it. That's just how it works.
So I wonder if it was that conversation that maybe like influenced, that's the word, influenced it, of there being like, I was surrounded by Yogs people, but there was like this joke that I wasn't part of. I wonder if it was just like my brain's way of showing that, of like, because I think as well on like a human level, you get that sort of imposter syndrome as well, of like, there are times when I feel, and I get this isn't, specific to Yogscast, this is specific to every friend group or group I've ever been in. There are times when, we do things like Jingle Jam and I'm like, yeah, I'm really part of this. I'm, people think me and they think yogs, or they think yogs and they think me. And then there are times when I'm just like, everyone has forgotten who I am and no one knows me and I'm not really part of this and blah, blah, blah. And so I guess it was probably like those sorts of feelings in plastic gems.
In plastic gems. No, I totally understand that. It's just like the nature of the beast, I think. It's a very difficult line of work to be in because everything is kind of based on how you present yourself. And like, you know, you don't have to worry so much about what people think of you and how people perceive you if you're working just like an office job, for instance. Like, yeah, you want to be presentable and you want to get on with your colleagues, but your income doesn't hinge on, you know, your outward facing public personality quite so much. I don't know. It's difficult. Obviously,
your likability.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Your likability. Like a lot of jobs, you know, are front facing roles, and yeah, you need to be charismatic and stuff. But there's just something about what we do where even people on the outskirts that you don't interact with so much have that kind of influence on how you see yourself too. Like, for instance, you know, we've always talked about YouTube comments, like, you know, just this person who probably has never ever watched any of your streams or anything, you know, they roll up and they leave a nasty comment on a YouTube video, and suddenly this person that you hadn't really thought of ever, that you've never met, you don't know who they are, they're just like, I hate this person, and you're like, oh, yeah, sorry. You know, it's very unique in that sense where so many people chime in about, you know, how they think of you, and as a result, like, I don't know, it's just you just sort of think about it and you're very wary about how other people see you and stuff.
Yeah, because I guess it's like, obviously there's people that you might not like in other jobs, but it's not like you would have like a board, like a whiteboard in your company where you're just like, I'm just going to write like, Kirsty's a dick.
Get them out of the company.
Leave that there.
Fire them right now.
Like, you might have little, you know, water cooler moments where you're chatting or something like that, or be like, you know, oh, God, that person again. Oh. But you wouldn't just have it, I'm just going to post this publicly on the internet. And because that's the thing, it's like, it's not like, you know, it's not like if I were to say something to you on this podcast about, I don't know, Ewan McGregor or something, like the likelihood of him tuning in and being like, oh, like I would never want to just say stuff that's like, you know, baselessly mean anyway, but just to give an example. Whereas on our level, reading a YouTube comment of a video we're in is very likely.
It's a lot more sort of personal. I think, yeah, there is like this weird middle ground, isn't there? Like where we sit, where like we're just sort of obscure micro internet people, you know? And so like we sort of see every comment and take every comment to heart, whereas people like who are actual, you know, who are celebrities, they don't, you know, they probably see like, you know, the vocal majority or minority or whatever, you know, they see the vocal people, but they don't, I mean, they might scour YouTube comments, I don't know.
Actually, having said that, Pedro Pascal has admitted to, did you see his Vanity Fair lie detector interview? Was it Vanity Fair? I think so.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
But they asked him, like, do you ever search for yourself on Instagram? And he was just like, yes. And the guy's like, he's telling the truth. And they were like, what is your favorite fan account? And he was like, actually checking the stuff. And there's things like, someone will do a post saying something like, I don't know, some really like thirsty thing about Pedro Pascal, and then he'll like it, and they're just like, So I guess so maybe.
I think this is just an example, isn't it, of us feeling like we are, you know, on this weird little platform where we're sort of cut off and we, you know, but I think a lot of people have the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, people like Pedro Pascal.
Famously, Ed Balls searched Ed Balls.
True. Wasn't it Ed Balls Day recently?
Yeah.
When is Ed Balls Day? I remember someone mentioning it. Ed Balls Day is the 28th of April.
Oh.
Incredible.
But I think there's also like a strange I mean, not saying this is the case for everyone, but I feel like a lot of people who get into streaming get into it not because they are, your classic presenter type, or they're very people person-y, or they're very good at conversation, or any of this stuff. I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like there are most streamers are very socially awkward, but it doesn't come across on stream because you're in your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just chatting to chat, and whereas when you actually are faced with, so I guess it can give the impression like, oh well, of course you sit there and you do this in front of 100 people, and so you must be really confident and you can take these comments, and it's like, no,
absolutely not.
I have feelings and I'm just a little squirrel.
Just a guy.
Just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
Also, that being said, personally, if I see mean comments about me, most of the time I'm just like, nah. It's when I see comments about friends that I'm just
Other
like,
people,
okay, we're throwing down now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, just the basic ass comments about me, I'm just like, yeah, right. But sometimes people say things that hit home, and then you're like, oh, I can't not think about that one now.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, it's comments about my friends that bug me, and it's like, oh, I want to reply so bad, but you don't want to put them on a platform,
Yeah. I think it's good to reward the lovely people and the kind people and the nice people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of which we have many who are listeners to Comfort Zone, and we appreciate it.
True.
Got a lovely bunch.
What a bunch of lovelies.
Please don't comment mean things. We're very delicate.
And baby. And sorry if I've not made much sense this episode. I am not well.
And sorry if I've not made much sense the last 102 episodes. I'm just me.
So true.
Dear oh dear. Well, thank you for a lovely chat, even though you weren't feeling super good.
Thank you for a lovely chat.
And I hope you all enjoyed listening at home, or wherever you listen, in fact. Maybe you listen in a witch library or on a beach.
Be careful if you're on the beach.
Yeah. For
dangerous
bombs.
Yeah. Look out for mushroom clouds.
Yeah. Oh, mushrooms. Tea. Well, until next time, everyone. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.